Hello and welcome to Ask MandR Productions episode 298. Today we're going to be talking about LEGO Star Wars sequel sets in the future, BigFigs and where they might have gone, small budget purchasing tips, and much more. If you guys have a question or topic for next week's episode, leave in the comment section below. And this episode is sponsored by Whatnot, so more on them later. First question from Noel says, since all the new prequel and Clone Wars sets were ushered in by teens and adults who grew up with them, could the same happen in 5 to 10 years with the sequel trilogy? It absolutely could happen. I've had some people in my ear that are a little bit older than me that kind of watched what happened with the prequel stuff, being like, yeah, it's absolutely going to happen. It's a lock, bet the house on it. And I'm like, I just can't see it. I haven't experienced what's happening the same way they have, but they seem to think that it will happen no matter what. But I think that the reason the prequels are so popular now is because it had the Clone Wars show. I don't see anything bumping the popularity of the sequel trilogy or making the sequel trilogy better. Maybe the Rey movie is that thing. I just look at it and I'm like, the sequel trilogy probably is not going to have this massive resurgence the way that the Clone Wars, gave kind of the prequel trilogy its massive resurgence. And over the years, the movies have certainly aged better. And unlike the sequel trilogy, in a lot of people's eyes, the prequels, I think, didn't ruin Star Wars or make it terrible or ruin characters that you loved. It mostly built upon them in somewhat cringy ways from time to time. But the sequel trilogy just took some characters people really liked and made some really dumb plot points, like bringing Emperor Palpatine back to life, letting Rey die and bringing her back to life. But yeah, I would never say it's impossible that the sequel trilogies gain some popularity 10 to 15 years from now because the kids who grew up with it liked it and it is what it is at that point. But I also find it really hard to believe that would happen without, a big outside force. CC46578 says, I noticed that the quality of your videos and shots used in them improved a lot, and I'm wondering, do you take inspiration from creators like Mr. Beast that are trying to make the best possible videos? I think Mr. Beast is probably a good one to pull from. He certainly makes very good videos. I think I take inspiration from like the idea of wanting to make like really good videos. Sure. I don't think there's a lot of like Mr. Beast-esque things in my videos though, per se, like just two completely different content styles. He's obviously doing way other different things. No, there's no product reviews on a Mr. Beast channel unless it's like a Mr. Beast bar. It's only natural to see other people putting in the hard work and improving and wanting to go and do that yourself. Jackson says he wants to order a set off Bricklink, but is hesitant due to scams that are out there and just wondering what my past experiences have been. I have only been scammed once in my life, and it was the most obvious thing ever. I also had someone come in my Twitch chat the other day while I was streaming COD and tell me they spent $575 on a UCS Republic gunship on Amazon, which just retired, because they were scared of scams. My best word of advice is, on a case-by-case basis, it is very easy to tell if something is a scam. Looking at seller feedback is incredibly easy, and like you can literally know in an instant whether or not something is a scam. First off, is the price too good to be true? Yes, probably a scam. Don't buy it. You might end up paying $100 more than you thought you were going to pay, but you have the peace of mind, right? Or in some cases, it'll be like on Mercari. I wouldn't even buy from Mercari at this point. They just don't care about policing their marketplace. I've seen very consistently on Mercari over the past year or so, people have sets like a Republic dropship with ATOT for like $500 sealed in box, and it's just obviously a scam, so don't buy it. But it'll be like a brand new account, zero feedback. So I want to buy this Anakin and Sebulbus pod racer here. It's the cheapest buy it now new that I could find on eBay, and this seller has it. He has 16 feedback. That's not a lot of feedback, but to me, 16 is more than enough to feel comfortable buying from someone. That means they sold 16 things and 16 people received the things they bought. I'm not 1,000% sure with Bricklink, but I know with eBay, they'll just give you your money back if you get scammed. So it's really nothing to worry about at the end of the day to me. So I see viewers out there telling me they spent all this money on Amazon on a retired set. eBay and Bricklink are going to be just fine. You're literally not going to get scammed if you have an ounce of common sense. I think your fear is probably outweighing your logic at this point, and maybe once you buy a couple of things, you'll feel more comfortable with it. To me, it's something that I have known my whole life. I think I've literally had a Bricklink account since 2007, and so I don't even think twice about it at this point. It is not like a concern of mine. 99.999% of things are going to be perfectly fine, and you're going to be good. I get this question a lot, and we'll check back at the end of the year, but Sir Lifts a lot wants to know what I can bench. I think I went to the gym with my buddy Muhammad a couple weeks ago, and I was maybe doing 105 for like 3 reps of 5, maybe, or 3 reps of 6. I can't remember, but that's my max. It's not very good. I don't lift a lot, so we'll check in at the end of the year. Dane says, what is one purchase you made / didn't make that you regret? I'll talk about the most recent one here. It was the UCS Darth Maul. I paid $3,200 for a set, brand new, sealed in box to use for my review of Darth Maul. And I regret it financially, or rather as a business. I bought that set, sealed in box, $3,200. I also, a few years ago, bought a Darth Maul, brand new, parts only, so no box, no instructions, for about 500 bucks. The build of Darth Maul that you see in my review is the one that I paid $500 for. However, as a fan of Lego and Lego Star Wars and kind of wanting to, like, you know, have the history of it and have everything that I can and show everything that I can to everyone and try to, like, have that sort of experience shared on the internet, I wanted to also show what it was like to unbox a brand new sealed box of Darth Maul. So I opened that box specifically to show in the introduction of the review. It's a bad financial decision because I spent $3,200 on it, and I uploaded the video in January. Ad rates in January are very, very bad. I've maybe made $100 on the video so far. Not a lot of return on investment. Now, I do view my channel as a sum of the parts, so to me, it's like, yeah, I can lose money on this video, and then a video like this where it costs me very little comparatively, you know, will hopefully, you know, make up some of the difference, or maybe many of these videos will make up that $3,200 difference, but you get the point, I think. I wanted to have that experience for myself and be able to share that experience on the channel. Sure, could I have done a UCS Darth Maul review without the box, the instructions showing the unboxing? Yes. I have a way that I like to do my reviews now, and so I kind of found myself in a rock and a hard place. I'm like, I got to buy the sealed set. I have to. So I did, and now I'm going to end up selling all of the sealed bags without the box and the instructions, mind you, because I'm going to keep those for my collection because I'm a maniac with collecting Lego Star Wars. I'll keep the box and instructions and sell the sealed bags on MandRshop.com in the collector's corner, which is kind of something I created for situations like this where I can put something on my website like that's cool, unique, that maybe a collector one day will want to buy from me. Brighton Trice says, I noticed on the Atlanta BrickCon Instagram page, they said I would be showing up as a featured guest. I was just wondering what that would entail for you relating to interacting with fans. So yes, I'm going to Atlanta BrickCon. It's February 10th and 11th in Duluth, Georgia. I'll have the link down in the description below to their site, but you can get $2 off with the code MRATL24. So if you do want to go, I'll be there. It's going to be a full-fledged Lego convention. I want to say 40,000 square feet of stuff, but last year was absolutely packed, so they've doubled the size of the convention center. But as far as your question goes, whenever I go to conventions like this, I usually like stand at a table or around a table and talk to fans, like literally just the whole time, and that's what I do. I'll sign things if you want, take pictures, chat for as long as you like that's just kind of what I do. I like to talk to y'all. I feel like it's the least I can do to give back is just like be there the whole time if you go to a convention that I'm at. I don't like to I don't want like a whole spectacle of it. Be at a table. I'll post about it on my Instagram story of exactly where I am, and you know, you'll see me there. My buddy Rod is also going. He's gonna be doing a Whatnot stream, I think on Sunday at the convention, so he'll be there with me too. So I'm pretty excited about that, and that does lead us right into today's sponsor, Whatnot. Whatnot is the ultimate live auction app where you can buy and sell just about anything from Pokemon cards and sports cards to video games and Lego sets and minifigures. Speaking of, this Saturday, January 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be hosting a Lego Star Wars minifigure auction with a Venator giveaway. UCS Venator giveaway at the end of the auction. All auctions will start at just $1, including the classic General Grievous, Light Up Obi-Wan Kenobi that still works, and Padme Amidala. If you haven't signed up yet, you can get $15 off your first purchase of $15 or more by doing so with the link in the description below. Once you've signed up, or even if you already have an account, make sure you head to my Whatnot page, follow me, and use the bookmark feature so that you don't miss my UCS Venator giveaway auction. Oh man, I just had a great dream that I won the UCS Venator on MandR's live stream. I guess I should tune into it now. Oh my god, I overslept because I didn't use the bookmark feature. Brandon brings up the fact that someone has been going around on my YouTube videos again and commenting that you have won a prize and saying to email them. Do not email people on YouTube comments that say you won a prize. It's not real. It's a complete scam, guys. Please don't do it. They're going to ask you for money for shipping, and it's going to be a complete scam. Any giveaways that I do are done on Whatnot with a few exceptions, and it's very clear how it's being run when I talk about it. It will not include me replying to your YouTube comment and saying to email me and then me asking you for money for shipping. Whenever you want a giveaway from me, it will never cost you anything. This is a YouTube-wide problem, unfortunately, and it's actually, I believe, the reason that they changed the usernames on YouTube. So you see when I take screenshots now of people's names, it uses the little @ and then their like actual username. YouTube has had to try to change it to mitigate it, and unfortunately, they just keep finding other ways. So just, you know, big warning there. Republic Reviews wants to know how I think LEGO Star Wars is going to handle battle packs going forward. Essentially, will they release a normal battle pack and a super battle pack every year, or will they only release on every other year? Like, how will the cadence be going forward? And I think there will be very little pattern to it going forward. Basically, for the first 7 years of battle packs, we got 2 normal battle packs every year. When it comes to battle packs now, I think they have thrown everything out the window in like general releases. Everything except UCS sets, basically, there's no longer a pattern with. The May 4th UCS set is basically the only lock. We don't even get January micro fighters anymore. Maybe January polybags and a May 4th UCS set, and then whatever happens later in the year as far as a direct-to-consumer set, and that's kind of the only things we can guarantee. So in 2020, we got 2 normal battle packs with a super battle pack, and then in 2021, battle packs disappeared completely. They did 0 battle packs. 2022, we only got the Snow Trooper battle pack. 2023, we got 2 battle packs, but 1 came out in January, and 1 came out in August. And then this year, we've had the super battle pack, but we have no further rumors of any more battle packs. So you can see every year it has been something different, and I don't think we're going to fall into any sort of pattern here. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be that way. 9 says, should I buy the $240 R2-D2 or wait for the $100 version? So I think as soon as there's a rumor of a new version of a thing, and it usually doesn't happen where the old version of the thing is already available, or the other version of the thing in R2-D2's case, because the $100 R2-D2 is going to be much different than the $240 R2-D2. It'll be way smaller. So I think there's a few things to take into consideration. First off, you're at the point where it's been rumored for a while and the set's literally coming out in a couple of months. You may as well wait at this point. The UCS R2-D2 isn't going to retire before the new one comes out, and then you can make your decision. But also, I think there's more things that can play into that decision. I think when I compare these, it'll be interesting to see too, is like the amount of space you have in your display. Like what makes sense for your particular space. So I think there's just a few different things there that you have to deliberate within your own mind. You also have the case of minifigures, where the $100 version here is supposed to include Darth Malak. So if you care at all about Darth Malak, it probably makes sense to buy the cheaper version that includes the Darth Malak versus the UCS version, which only includes an R2-D2, unless you really care about the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm brick. So there's quite a few things there. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer. However, I do think waiting a couple of months to decide for yourself would probably be the best way to go, and maybe wait for my comparison video. That might help you too. Gikiara says, can you share your political views? Yeah, of course, man. Helmet holes bad. Hot take here from Bless says, in my opinion, Lego brickheads are unnecessary to Lego, as they are not building, they are not vehicles, and they are not places, and they don't include minifigures. And you're not completely unfounded here. Lego brickheads don't exist because Lego had some grand idea. I believe Lego brickheads exist because of the popularity of Funko Pops, and Lego kind of wanted to compete with that in the cheap collectible space. And for a cheap collectible with Lego, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. The brickheads, I think, generally are kind of cool. I'm kind of excited for the Commander Cody and Episode 1 brickheads that we have coming out this year. Check out my recent rumor video if you haven't. But in the same breath, if Lego brickheads had never existed, I don't think anyone would care. I think there's been like 25 Star Wars brickheads to this point. I would trade all of them for a one-time release of like a Padme starship. I think it'd be way cooler to have a random ship than all of the brickheads ever combined. Like that's the kind of trade I would make, right? They're just not the most important thing, I think, to Lego and Lego Star Wars or Lego fans generally, but it's just another part of the business for them, and I think they wanted to compete with Funko Pop, so it makes sense from that perspective. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just also think they can exist and everything else can exist, and it's fine. Joshua says, for someone starting out with a small budget, what's the best way to go about it? So without any specifics here as to what you're trying to do, I'll just go with like general collecting advice. If you're brand new to Lego and you know nothing, everything goes on sale. Basically, like if you wait at least 6 months after a set releases, you're almost guaranteed to save 20%. There are some exceptions to the rule, but generally with most wide release sets, you're going to be saving 20% by waiting. If you're on a small budget, it makes no sense not to wait. Now, if you wait for the clearance to happen, which can happen a year, 2 years after a set releases, you're looking at saving up to 50% on a set. The problem with that, obviously, though, is availability. Clearance is definitely like a, we're getting rid of this product. We have what we have. Someone else might come and buy it before you and it'll be gone and it won't get restocked. So that's the issue when it comes to clearance. I would also very highly recommend making maximum use of tools like Rakuten and cash back credit cards. Now, when I say credit cards, that doesn't mean rack up a bunch of debt, spend the money that you have only or that you intend to spend only, but you're going to be getting, I use the Apple Card a lot in my personal life, an extra 2% back on purchases that you're going to make anyway. It just makes no sense not to. So I think when you use all of those tools together and just kind of waiting for the sales and picking the right times to buy things, maybe even Facebook Marketplace where people are selling things substantially cheaper a lot of the time. That's not somewhere I buy things from, but I do get a lot of fans messaging me and telling me that they found great deals on Facebook Marketplace specifically. They'll be like, look what I just picked up. I got this for $50. It's usually $100 set. I think there's good opportunities out there if you're looking in the right places. So I would also recommend that. Keaton says, what big figs do you think Lego will make next? Will they ever make another Rancor or Wampa. So when it comes to big figs, I think the last big fig we got was the Dewback in the Master Builder Series Cantina in 2020. So it's been going on 4 years now since the last LEGO Star Wars Big Fig. Now, historically, they kind of, come and go in pretty big gaps between them. Like, they're not always making new ones, or they haven't always been making new ones every year. So it's not a big surprise to me that it's been a few years since the last one. But I think something has been happening over the past few years that I think is alarming for Big Fig fans. And that is the reliance on brick built stuff. The Microfighter, Dewback, and Bantha maybe aren't good examples, but it does show that LEGO has the ability to brick build these products now instead of just making them one big mold, and that might be the direction they choose to go. I mean, people want a molded Bantha, but LEGO has never made one. And so when you look at something recently like the Blurg in the Razor Crest, I think historically an item like the Blurg would have been a molded item. Nowadays, they're going and brick building that thing. I think it would be crazy if LEGO never made a Rancor or Wampa again. I'd bet money on them doing those again. But I think for a lot of other things, when they're able to, in order to save money, they will go ahead and brick build them. But yeah, Rancor and Wampa, I'd bet money on. Tauntaun, I'd bet money on. I'm really hoping they'll do a Wampa Cave diorama set in the future. I think that makes a ton of sense for them to do. But that's the type of set too, where it's not a play set. Like, they could totally go and do a brick built Wampa for a set like that. And I don't know how people would feel about it compared to just getting the big fig in there. So we'll see. I think brick building may be the way of the future, more than many of us may think, including myself. Jan Puzzman says, do you think we get a playset Venator in a few years? Because I really love the ship, but I just don't want to spend so much money on the UCS one. Totally understandable. UCS one is very much on the high end of sets that LEGO Star Wars collectors would buy, and there are many people that just don't want to spend that much money on a LEGO set. It makes a ton of sense. And this is where what I think LEGO Star Wars has finally come around to one of my favorite sublines ever. Makes all the sense in the world. You have the MIDI scale just kind of looming, right? And so it makes a ton of sense to me that the next LEGO Star Wars Venator wouldn't actually be a play scale Venator, it would actually be a MIDI scale Venator in 2025. There's a rumor of the Invisible Hand being made in MIDI scale. The Invisible Hand and the Venator from Revenge of the Sith go together like peanut butter and jelly, which I don't personally eat, but that's besides the point. I think in 2025, it makes a ton of sense for there to be a Venator in that $60, $70 range for people just like you and me. I also want a $70 Venator. I think it'd look amazing on the shelf back there. It makes a ton more sense for basically any normal collection display area that most people have, because the Venator UCS is a table set. I mean, not everyone has that kind of space, and I think LEGO knows this, and that's why MIDI scale is finally back after its long drought. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, I'll be at Atlanta BrickCon February 10th and 11th. Get your tickets down in the description below with the code to save $2 off, and check me out on Whatnot. Use the link in the description below and get $15 off your first purchase of $15 or more. If you have a question or topic for next week's episode, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you then.